President Trump's historic second state visit to the UK has been marked by next-level pomp and circumstance inside the walls of Windsor Castle and royal fury outside of those walls. The president and the First Lady are expected to arrive soon at St. George's Hall for a state banquet to cap off a full day of events, including the UK's largest military ceremony for a foreign leader in living memory. And yet, for all the honor inside those walls, outside there was a crush of protest, including images intended to provoke. 4 people were arrested for projecting a stinging 9-minute video montage onto the walls of Windsor Tower, laying out a timeline of allegations tying Donald Trump to pedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
1997. Trump and Epstein are seen together at 2 Victoria's Secret parties and are photographed together at Mar-a-Lago. The same year, Trump gifts a book to Epstein with the dedication, "To Jeff, you are the greatest, Donald."
Joining us now, President Emeritus of the Council on Foreign Relations and author of the weekly Substack newsletter, Home and Away, Richard Haass, and Vanity Fair columnist and former managing editor of the Sunday Times in London, Clive Irving. Clive, it is your country. Tell me what it is like there right now, because, boy, is there a difference between what is inside the castle walls and what is happening outside.
Yeah, it's crossed the line in a sense for many people in Britain that the royal family has been used in this way. I think meeting the needs of a vainglorious president has been successful today. I think they've laid everything on and reflected glory, all the pomp and circumstance, the military connections, the fly past, all of that can be judged as success. But the agonizing question for many Brits is it worth it? Now, the government argues we had to keep on the right side of President Trump, and by doing so, from the start, by promising this state visit, we've done better than almost any other country in preserving the damage that could be done by tariffs, also much beyond tariffs, building up or keeping safe and secure the essential security and intelligence interaction and interdependence of the 2 countries. Never mind the thing about special relationship. I mean, I think that's a kind of very tired thing. It's a very practical, almost you could say pragmatic and cynical decision that at all costs, both countries need to be close together and have to prevent Trump from making that situation unpredictable. And so I think at the end of this day, they've succeeded in that, but at a tremendous cost. And for me, as an observer of the royal family, I must say I have very almost emetic feelings about what I've seen today, in that such a whole roll-up of, if you like, Rule Britannia and all its apparatus devoted solely to a person who has not respected so many things about the core values of Great Britain.
Interestingly, Richard, you are seeing those protests outside of the walls again in London. But over the weekend, there was also a really large protest, and it was bigger than this, an anti-immigration protest, a pro-Britain protest, you could call it, I guess, arguably, a nationalist protest. People were wearing Trump hats and holding Trump signs in that protest. Donald Trump might not be the majority, but Donald Trump has inspired something there and inspired something certainly across Europe since his rise that has only been elevated since he was able to regain the White House.
No, absolutely, Katie. What we're seeing is versions of Trumpism, essentially populism, a kind of radicalism, anti-status quo, tends to be anti-immigrant in many cases. We're seeing it in Britain, we're seeing it in France, Germany, and so forth. So sure, I mean, in some ways modeled on his success. My hunch is we're going to see more of it, given the kinds of economic challenges, in particular, we're seeing in Europe, that you can't simply produce economic growth. And I expect we're going to see more, not less of this. That's going to be the challenge for European politics. You'll have this radical right, the reform movement in Britain. You'll have a kind of old, somewhat tired left. And the question is there a center? Is there anything that's a true conservative? I'm not so sure. Let me say about the trip, I'm a little bit more generous. I actually think this is a kind of a calculated move by the British government. They disagree with the Trump administration profoundly on policy about Gaza and the Middle East, about Ukraine and Russia, about tariffs. And I think what's happening is they're essentially, it's almost like an insurance premium. They're paying this premium up front to assuage the American president to try to have him see Britain in a fairly benign way. And it seems to me a kind of calculated decision. They're not giving up anything on the policy side, so it takes a day or two of pomp and circumstance. And I think from their point of view, and in some ways it also insulates the government from it. It's using the royal family to signal this, a kind of closeness, a traditional tie between the countries, and all things being considered, as insurance premiums go, it was probably less expensive, shall we say, than the alternatives.
Interesting. Richard Haass, Clive Irving, thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate it.